Good morning. I'm Dana Thomas, and I'm an American author and journalist based in Paris. It's such a pleasure to welcome you here at the Kunsthal Rotterdam. The Kunsthal is one of the leading cultural institutions in the Netherlands, located in this iconic building built by and designed by Rem Koolhaas. With more than 20 exhibitions a year, the Kunsthal offers a program that is dynamic and always surprising. From modern masters to contemporary art to forgotten cultures, photography, fashion, design. To accompany these exhibitions, the museum regularly hosts artist talks. Today's artist talk is with the greatly respected Dutch couturier, Iris van Herpen. The subject of Sculpting the Senses, a breathtaking exhibition put together by Kunsthal curator Charlotte Martens and with the support of the Kunsthal team, who I would like to thank for organizing this talk. The show opens today and runs through March 1st. How special it is for us to have Iris here today with us on its first day. Sculpting the Senses is an immersive, retrospective, and sensory exploration of the designer's universe, which brings together fashion, contemporary art, design, technology, and science. The Kunsthal is showcasing more than 100 pieces of 100 of Van Herpen's iconic creations to illustrate how she is constantly stretching the boundaries of haute couture and challenging the and breaking the métier's norms. The show is built around 9 themes, from sea life to alchemy, and includes a 21st century cabinet of curiosities and a replica of Iris's Amsterdam atelier. I saw the exhibition last night, and I can tell you it is dazzling, inspiring, and quite frankly, astonishing. Iris is one of the most visionary designers of our time, one I have the honor to know. We first met about 10 years ago when I went to interview her in her Amsterdam studio for my book, Fashionopolis, The Price of Fast Fashion and the Future of Clothes. She, of course, represents the last part of that subtitle, the future, but not in a traditional sense of clothes. Since Iris launched her namesake company 15 years ago, she has created garments that are less clothing than living sculptures, pieces that expand our imagination of the body and our relationship to the natural and digital worlds. During our conversation today, we'll look back at her extraordinary journey, explore themes and innovations at the heart of this exhibition, and hear about where her curiosity is taking her next. Please join me in welcoming Iris van Herpen. So Iris, this exhibition marks a significant moment in your career. How does it feel to see your work gathered and staged here in Rotterdam in this way?
I feel very grateful that I could bring the exhibition here. I remember working on it for Paris, and I was already hoping that I could bring it to the Netherlands. And I cannot imagine a better place for it to be at this moment. So. I haven't done something in the Netherlands for quite a while, so it feels really special to bring it all here.
Back home.
Yeah, back home.
So take us back to the beginning. You grew up not far from here, right? Not far. Tell us a little bit about your youth in the Netherlands and how this has informed your work.
Yeah, I grew up like an hour from here in a small village called Wamel. And it's a very beautiful place in between 2 rivers. I've always kept on working in the Netherlands. I take a lot of inspiration from the environment that I am, and especially the bird life in the Netherlands is a
Bird
big...
life. I saw some beautiful birds in the park walking over here today. Amazing.
Yeah.
And people taking pictures of them too, like proper pictures with tripods.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a big source of inspiration, and also all the water that I have around me. The studio is also next to the water, and it's such a transformative energy that I try to capture in my work. Yeah.
Yeah, your studio does overlook the water. It's quite remarkable. It's on the port.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you have this beautiful natural light, but also you
Yeah.
have the boats going by, and you have just like the reflections of the water all day long, and I can see that in your work, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So can you take us, you interned, first you were a ballet dancer, right? You
Well,
studied dance.
never professionally, but I've been dancing since I was quite young. It was classical ballet, and that is still with me in my work. I really try to capture that energy still, and but I've never been professional dancer.
No, but
No.
the art of movement is clearly evident in your design. That
Yeah.
Your clothes aren't tailored and strict.
No.
They have flow and movement, not just like water, but also through the movement of the body and dance.
Yeah, absolutely. When I design, I often start with draping, which is a very intuitive process on a mannequin. And I prefer that over sketching because it's more three-dimensional, but I also can feel the movement of the materials more. And then I often also put it on my own body before deciding what the final design will be. So movement is really an important element. Then I can see the response between the movement and the materials, and then it really comes to life. And that's
Test driving the clothes. It's interesting. I did a television program on France 24 yesterday,
Yeah.
or 2 days ago, where we were talking about how there aren't very many women at the top of big fashion houses.
Yeah.
And one of the questions was, do women designers approach design differently for women than men designers do? And I said, yes. I remember, since I've been covering the business since the 80s,
Yeah.
Donna Karan saying she test drove everything that went out of her atelier. She would try it
Yeah.
on and make sure it worked. And I think Stella McCartney does that too. She test
Yeah.
drives a lot of her things.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a super important part, because you understand what women need and women want.
Yeah.
And it's not just about looking it on a mannequin or on a hanger, but really
Exactly. Yeah.
showing that it's working.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, I really feel that as well, and I think we need more women designing for women as well, just to create the balance. And I'm still surprised that that's not the case today.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one of the things you did before you started your own company was you interned for Alexander McQueen. And I wrote a whole book about Alexander McQueen, so this is one of my subjects.
It's a great book.
And so tell us what you learned in that studio and from him, because he was a real genius. I mean, there aren't
Yeah.
a lot of, we talk about geniuses in fashion, but there only really have been a handful, and he was one of them.
Absolutely. What I learned there the most is that art and fashion are really connected, and that fashion can be a form of art. I could really feel it in the way he worked. He was really taking it as a personal journey. You could see in his collections where he was at the time in his mind. So, and I think that doesn't happen so often nowadays, that a designer really puts his heart and his soul
No.
into the work, not only led by commerce or the industry. He really was taking his intuition and having that as a drive. And I think that's the most important lesson that I took from him, to take it beyond clothing, to take it beyond a product. And that is something that I still take with me today.
And it's interesting what you said about the connection between art and design, because in that handful of geniuses have been in the fashion business. Coco Chanel worked with Picasso doing sets and costumes for the Ballet Russe. Schiaparelli worked with Jean Cocteau and created all this really cool surrealism, wearable art. Saint Laurent, of course, worked with many artists over the years and had art within his designs, but he was friends with them. He hung out with them. They were his, that was his world and his circle. And this clearly informed his design. It was more than just like trying to, link something, but he would, he knew these artists, and so he worked, or he had he wanted to pay great homage to them, like when he did the embroidered Van Gogh lilies as a jacket, just enormous. So it really is a link that is becoming less and less common in the business, but gives clothing and design its soul in a sense, right? It links it to our culture.
Yeah, and I don't think it's only about the collaborations, but it's really the approach that you take in the creative process. When I collaborate with someone, I don't always have a goal, and I think it's really the collaboration itself and the chaos and the uncertainty that you dive into that is the precious part about it. And I think even when I was on the art academy, we really learned to dive into one discipline, and that's very valuable. But at the same time, I feel that there have been times where it was much more common to be an artist and a scientist at the same time. And I feel related to that I don't want to be stuck in one discipline. I really feel the freedom to see the boundaries of one and also the beginnings of another and to weave them together. So that's what I've been doing for a long time now, and I really see no difference in my own approach between art, fashion and science, and they all relate and they can learn from each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's interesting because last night we sat next to your collaborator from the most recent collection, Chris Bellamy,
yeah.
who worked with you on you explain it, the bioluminescence.
Yes.
That's in the exhibition. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is one of the recent looks that we created for Paris Fashion Week, and it was a collaboration with Chris Bellamy and also the University of Amsterdam.
Well, I think Chris is here.
Yeah, I think
there he
so
is.
Too.
Good morning.
And it was one of the most magical processes I've been in. It was a really big challenge. We had no idea whether we would be able to do it. Even like a month before the show, we were not sure whether the whole idea was a good idea. And but it really started with experiments that I saw that Chris was doing, where the living algae were responding to the body and they were alive in the material. And from there we started to think about creating a whole living look that stays alive, that we could nurture. So eventually it became the dress that you see here in the exhibition, and it's created from 125 million algae.
125 million algae?
Yes, yeah.
They come from which part of the world?
Different parts.
Different parts.
Yeah, and
different reefs and.
Yeah, Chris worked with the university on that, combining different species, if I understand it correctly, and to see which ones were most happy in the material. And then, of course, we had a big challenge also with the heat wave, because they don't like the heat.
No, they don't like the heat.
No, so in the exhibition you see it behind glass, because it has to be moisturized to keep alive. To stay alive, and also it has a day and night rhythm, so they need their sleep like we do. So I really learned a lot about these little creatures, and one of the things I learned in the process that really surprised me is that they can actually reproduce in the material as well.
Wow.
And that is quite special, because the algae themselves, of course, don't have a very long lifespan. But as you look at them as a colony or a group, like an organism as a whole, then they can suddenly become very old, which is really beautiful. But the whole process made me really realize that those collaborations with nature really make the creative process a learning phase. To look at a new future, and that we can start creating in a much more balanced way.
Yeah.
That's what I hope. So I see this as a beginning of hopefully many more collaborations, also with Chris, to work on biomaterials and to bring that liveliness into couture and fashion. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, you worked with lots of other interesting people, and I remember researching about it for the book and being like, how does she know these people? They're so cool. And one of them was Neri Oxman, who is at MIT and is a researcher at MIT, and you worked with her on 3D printing, correct?
Yes.
And then you
Yeah.
worked with this lovely artist from, I think he was from Seattle, on a kinetic sculptor. What was his name?
Yeah, I've worked with Anthony Howe and
That's it,
also Casey
Anthony Howe.
Kieran. Yeah.
And that show was beautiful because you had the kinetic sculpture as your set, as we saw it in the film, in the opening scenes, where it was almost like a sunburst, like a sunflower, and everybody was walking through the sunflower. But then the dresses themselves were kinetic sculptures too, and they were moving and fluttering and twirling, and there was a lot going on. And I took my daughter to that show. It was at the
Lovely.
Élysée Montmartre, and she was studying in Montreal at the time, and she said, oh yes, I know this artist. Right outside my window is one of his sculptures in Montreal.
Really? Wow,
And so she was really excited to meet him since she's an art student. But I just love that you sort of like find these people that you know, the fashion world wouldn't necessarily even know about, because it's such an insular community. And then you bring them in and you disrupt everything. It's really cool. And you've been to the Collider, the Super Collider,
The Leidsheidshoorn Collider.
a couple times, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And how has that informed your design? Or not directly, just sort of...
Yeah, well, I usually don't really take inspiration from things I see. Even though I take up on the beauty of it, I mostly take my inspiration from conversations that I'm having or a book that I'm reading, things like that. So going to Schoen is really about having these conversations with the scientists that are working there, that have their own dreams on what they would like to discover, and it just opens my imagination to see the future in a different way, to think about my own material research in a different way, and yeah, that is the main goal for me, to visit these places and also to collaborate with people from other disciplines, especially from science, because they have such a different look at the materials and also the world around us. And it really expands my vision of reality, and that is ultimately what I'm trying to do within my work as well, to expand my own vision of reality and hopefully inspire other people to see the same. Yeah.
I mean, Da Vinci was the first, most famous, artist, scientist. He understood that they weren't the school of arts and the school of sciences, but that they're of a piece.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
And he
Yeah, I think art and science are very separated at the moment, but it's beautiful when they come together.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So how do you, is there, your early collections already showed a really unique voice, like with the collaborations particularly. And I remember when I first saw your work up close, I was at an exhibition in Boston called Textile. And it was tech, like high tech, and then style. And one of your 3D printed designs, in fact, it was the first complete 3D printed dress, was on show there. It looks kind of like a sea anemone in silicone, and it's super cool. And I thought, who is this person making this incredible 21st, 22nd, 25th century garment? It's really great. So looking back, what do you see as the first real turning point in your development as a designer and artist? What was the thing that really, like, where you went, ding, and here we go onto this path?
Yeah, of course, it's a long journey of different moments like that. I remember in the early years, I would really focus on traditional craftsmanship, and there's a lot to learn in couture. There's a beautiful tradition of amazing techniques that I really wanted to get to know and to find my own version of it. So that's where it started. But then after a few years, I remember feeling stuck in my materiality because I wanted to create this water dress. I've always had a fascination for the immateriality in fashion. Like, can I work with materials that are impossible to work with. Like, can I work with water or smoke, and or at least capture the essence of those materials? And it was just really, it felt really impossible to do that with the traditional techniques. And I had this conversation with architects at the time, and they were using 3D printing for maquette making, and it was not known in fashion as a technique yet.
And actually, one of the first 3D
yeah.
printed pieces you did is in the exhibition, right? The one that's sort of like a bolero that looks like different
Exactly.
kinds of shell
Yeah.
pieces.
So I collaborated with an architect in order to make the 3D file, because it's a very technical process that at the time I really had to get to know first. But it was one of those moments where I realized there's a whole world out there outside of the traditional techniques in other disciplines that could be really interesting for fashion as well. So that was 2009. This was one of those moments where I started to collaborate more with architecture, with also some scientists, early experiments, and from there on, I kept doing that in different ways. But that was one of the moments where I realized I could bring the two worlds together, and also not replace the traditional techniques, but really combine them. And the early years, you see the separation. You will see it in the exhibition as well. There are looks that are fully 3D printed, and there are looks that are fully handcrafted. And then throughout the years, you see them merging, and new techniques even are layered on top of them, and it really becomes a hybrid of the more classical way of working and
Absolutely.
the new way of working. Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that books really inform what you're doing too. What are you reading now? I remember when I asked you this in the studio and you told me, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so not what I'm reading. What are you reading now? They're always up here. You tell me.
What I'm reading now.
Or what books have you recently read where you're like, oh yeah, I gotta.
Well, one of the books I read a while ago was Life 3.0. I read it for the second time.
Life 3.0.
Yeah, it's a great book about all the different possible realities that we're going into with AI. So it's not showing where it's going, but all the different options it is going. So it's a book that is really interesting, because I've been experimenting, of course, because there's so much talk about it with AI. But personally, I don't really use it in my creative process, because I feel it's sacred. It's the most personal thing I have. So I don't really want to share it with something external, but as a research tool, I find it really helpful.
It's very helpful for research.
So for science, I think it's going to do great things.
And for fixing things, ChatGPT, tell me how to fix this. I do that a lot.
Yeah, okay. I haven't done that yet.
It's very helpful.
Yeah.
You do this, and then you do this. Thank you. So, how have you seen your evolution over time? Do you recognize threads in the continuity of your work? Does each stage feel like a departure into something new, or does it sort of keep building upon what you've already done?
By making the exhibition, I realized the larger themes that keep on coming back into my work. So when you zoom in, it's always new research, it's always new developments of materials and techniques, but when you zoom out, there are these larger themes that keep on coming back.
Like water?
Yeah, absolutely, but nature in general, of course, is the primal force in my work, and also this connection, finding this relationship with nature in different forms. So that is the ultimate force in everything that I do. But throughout the exhibition, you will travel from a microscopic world into a macroscopic world. And all of these themes are translated throughout the collections in different ways. And I've only come to realize this when I was working on the exhibition. Yeah.
And beauty, which is not always a priority in fashion these days. I've been watching the shows in Milan online, because I'm here instead of Milan.
Yeah.
And beauty is definitely not a priority this season. I mean, now that we don't have Mr. Armani, the world is a less beautiful place, to be sure. And he always prioritized beauty. But, you know, some of the things we have seen have not been about beauty. They're about being modern, they're about being cool, they're about being... But beauty, is, I feel, is at the core of what you do, that you're always trying to make the world more beautiful, or you're trying to translate the beauty of the world and nature into your clothes. Tell me about why beauty is important to you.
Yeah, I see beauty as an energy as well. Like it's a force that can really transcend you if you open yourself for it. And it's a force that also connects us, that is a communication tool, I really feel. And it's definitely a very important part of my work. It's not the only part. And I also feel, coming back to our conversation at the beginning, there are many ways to look at beauty. And that's why I also feel it's really important to show a feminine beauty in a more layered perspective. It's not just about attraction or a physical attraction. It's really about an intellectual force and a force of transformation.
And the soul, like just reflecting the soul, right? And the inner beauty that comes out through your design.
Yeah, the inner world of someone that can really be translated into a language that you can embody. And I think if we talk about art as well, it's not only things that we can look at or hang on a wall. It's something that we really can embody and that we can become part of. And that's the same with beauty. It's really a language that can take us into a different state of being.
Right.
And I think if we look at the history of fashion, that's also something that has been very prominent. It has been a language or a tool to communicate with something beyond us, right? And you don't realize that often when you look at the fashion we know today. So I try in my work to connect with that meaning of fashion again. Yeah. Yeah.
And what are some of the themes that you're exploring right now in your work? Like, what are some of, like beauty, of course, and nature, of course, but are there some other things that have come in recently that you're sort of looking into more?
Well, I'm fascinated.
AI?
Well, yeah, not necessarily. It's not a big subject in my work at the moment. But what I'm really fascinated by is how can my work become more and more alive.
More alive.
Because
like the bioluminescence algae.
That's indeed a very good example.
Things made of silk are alive. Taffeta is a living fabric. That's why when it's really good taffeta, if you scrunch it, it holds its form like foil. It's because it's still a living organism.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's the works that I'm making, I'm always trying to translate, especially when I work for a private client, to translate her inner world to the artwork that I'm making. And as persons, we change over time. And I think it's beautiful idea to be able to make pieces that change with you, and not just physically, but the state that you're in. And one tool that is still in early stages, but the 4D printing has potential to...
What kind of printing?
4D printing.
4D printing. What is 4D printing? I mean, we have 3D, which is, we have 1D, we have 2D, we have 3D. What is 4D?
4D printing means, in summary, that you give the material a memory. So it can use that memory over time to, for example, change shape or change other aspects of the material. So it's a smart material that you can control on where it responds to. It can over time change with you in shape, in texture, in in the touch, in the way it moves even. And yeah, I'm doing early experiments with it, and I see, and this will take another 10 years for sure,
Right.
but I see a lot of possibilities there. Yeah.
Issey Miyake was exploring that before his death, before he was not well. He was working on the fourth dimension in fashion. Of course, he was one of the greats who also brought in technology very early on and mixed it with fashion and saw and used the possibilities. I think he was the first one to use an inkjet printer for printing fabrics, like long before anyone was even using inkjet printers at home. And he was I remember him talking about fourth dimension in fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I remember trying to write about it in Newsweek, and my editors were like, "What are you saying? It's not making sense." I'm like, "We'll figure that out."
If you hear that, it's usually a sign that you're on a good path. I remember my first 3D printing that was shown in Amsterdam, and the journalists, they didn't really have the language for it, so they
Right.
thought it was coming out of a paper printer, because it had the word printing,
Right.
so it had to come out of a printer. So I think that's a good sign.
That is a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you balance innovation with emotional and human aspects? You know, the sense of awe and wonder that your works evoke. How do you find the balance between it being like, wow, but also we can wear it like it? And we see a lot of it on red carpets where you're supposed to wow, but you have to be able to move and sit down too, which is an important aspect of fashion.
Definitely.
How do you balance that? Where you say, okay, let's get really crazy, but not too crazy, because it has, function and form. How do you
Yeah.
balance the function and the form?
That all comes from the process. Like I start with experiments, and there the sky is the limit. I don't bound myself into any limitations. I just do the experiments, and it doesn't matter at that point whether something is functional or wearable, but it's really a moment where I try to find my freedom and to not be even limited to the body. It's really an important part of the process where the end result is not important. Which is a really beautiful energy to be in. And then at a later stage, then I start deciding which direction I'm going, and then I start to put things on my own body or someone else's, and then a lot of things are being killed because it's just not practical for the body,
It's not
or
working.
it needs another 5 years to develop, etc. But it's still important to be in that phase, I think, to play and to make mistakes as well. I think it's one of the most fun parts of the creative process.
Yeah.
But later on, I start deciding which ones are really made for the body, and then I start draping, and then I find the balance. And it all comes down to intuition. There's no formula behind it, but I do find contrast really important. When things become too nature-driven or too technological, I always add another element to be in between. I really find beauty in the contrasts between worlds, and I think that's why people often see different things in my work. Some people really see the influence of nature, and other people see the
The
technology
laser cutting
in
and
it, and the
right.
more designed aspects of it.
Yeah.
And I also play with that. I like to have a lot of control, and that's why I work with these techniques, but at the same time I also really like losing control, and then I intentionally bring chaos into my process. Yeah, so you will find works in the exhibition that I really created by disrupting my process. One example are the magnetic looks. that are grown with magnets, and I had no control over the textures. But it's a very beautiful forest to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I came to see you, you had a piece, which is in the show, that was this, I think it's laser cut, but sculpted very fine metal. And it looked to me, I described it in the book as looking like somebody, when you put it on, you'd been just sort of dipped into a glass of champagne, and you came out and you were just effervescent, like you were covered in bubbles. Then you look at this piece and you see the technique and the technical aspect of it, that it's this fine metal and it's all intricately cut and then put together in a way so it looks like you're this floating cloud of champagne bubbles. It's kind of great. And then, of course, I love the work that you did. I mean, I love his work anyway. It's him, I think. Reagan
Brown?
Yeah, the paper artist.
Yeah.
Remarkable. How did you find this person, and then how did you work together to create the pieces that are in the show?
Yeah, well, I actually found his work online, this is many years ago, and I contacted him, not necessarily with the idea of having a goal in a collaboration, but just to find out the way he was working.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I saw his pieces at Homo Faber in Venice.
It's stunning.
And I was just gaga.
Yeah.
And you have 3 or 4 of them in the show.
There are 4 works, and he made them especially for the exhibition, and that is really amazing that a lot of artists have created works for this exhibition.
And how does he work? Is it all by hand with scissors? Is it
it's
laser?
a combination. It's laser cutting and hand cutting.
And tweezers, a lot of tweezers.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
When you see it, you'll see what I mean. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
But then you
it's
did
a
it
whole
for a
universe
dress.
in itself. Yeah, we created 3 looks together. It's also a collaboration with Parley for the Oceans,
we
which
love.
is an environmental
Love
organization. Yeah, so the works are created from plastic taken out of the oceans that are woven into new fabrics, and then we work together with Wogan on creating these looks. Yeah.
You'll see what I mean when you go to the
hours.
exhibition. It's
Yeah.
quite remarkable. So, how did you all create the exhibition? How did you work with the curators to put together what we're seeing on stage, in the show?
Yeah, it's been a long process. I've been working on the exhibition for 7 years now.
7 years. I know, we
So-
talked about it a long time ago, and you said it's
Exactly.
coming, be prepared.
It's coming, yeah. No, I first worked on it for 5 years, preparing for Paris, and because there are so many custom artworks in the exhibition, it took a long time. And it's a large selection of works, so I also had to go into the archives, and also we had to redo a lot of looks to make them perfect for the exhibition again, because they were worn so much, danced in, everything, so that took a long time. And then another 2 years after Paris for Australia, Singapore and Rotterdam. So every museum, it's a different exhibition.
And then it's going to New York, I
Yes.
heard last night at dinner. Very exciting.
Yeah.
And you have new pieces in here. You have pieces from not just the bioluminescence piece, but also that sculptural, the white sculptural water piece. I'm not sure what it's made of.
Exactly, yeah, and also the kinetic look with Casey Curran. So there are several
That we saw in
new
July.
works.
So it's
Yeah.
different than even what was in the last exhibition.
Absolutely, yeah. There's
It's
new
forever
works.
evolving.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also from other artists, there are new works.
But you're now
So-
down to showing only once a year, you've decided,
Yes.
in
Yeah,
July.
Exactly.
Much
Yeah.
better than January. It's miserable in January.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it gives you more time to really work on your pieces and your ideas and not be in a hurry.
Exactly. Yeah. No. The process becomes more and more layered. The collaborations go deeper and deeper, and I take a lot of inspiration from doing the exhibitions as well and other projects. So for me, it's the right balance on being able to have enough freedom to really push my own techniques forward as well, because the new materials take a long time, and I just don't want to be stuck in time. So I want to take.
And
that
you've stepped
time.
off the hamster wheel that is the fashion hamster wheel. You're not doing ready to wear anymore. You have
No.
a few accessories, but not a ton. You're just focusing on haute couture, which is made to measure, made to order. You have your clients. They collect you. They love you. I know a few of them. Jennifer Tilly's a friend of mine, and
Oh,
she
lovely.
buys your dresses.
Yeah, lovely.
And then Kate Blanchett buys and wears your dresses.
Yeah.
And so how do you work with them? Do they come to see you in Amsterdam and try things on and you talk things through, or do you go
Yeah.
see them? Or
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful process. It's very personal. When I make a look for someone, they usually come to the atelier or to a show in Paris, and we just start talking. And from those conversations, I start sketching. So when I work on my collections, I prefer draping, but working for someone, sketching is much more practical. So I'll do some sketches, and then the whole creative process starts. And when a look like that is created and someone puts it on for the first time, it's indescribable. It's one of the most beautiful parts of the whole,
I'm
of
sure.
everything that I do.
Do you get requests to do wedding gowns?
I also do that. Yeah.
I imagine it must be very beautiful. Talk about a 21st century bride.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
beautiful. And then, are there any particular works or installations in the show, beyond the living creatures, that you feel are especially significant that we should, at this moment in your career, is there anything that we should point out that, and the paper, the paper guy?
It's almost an impossible question.
It's almost
for
impossible,
me,
isn't it?
Because I have so many memories with each of these. Of course, this is a selection of works that mark an important moment in my work. So choosing one or two is almost impossible. And it really shows, what I really like about the show is that it's not chronologic. And that's why you see works from 2008 next to works that I've recently created. And I'm really curious if the audience will see the time in my work. So that's something that I would love to get some feedback on.
Right, I was going to ask, that was the next thing. I was
Yeah.
going to ask, what do you hope visitors will take from the show? So that you invest time, that you work with others and bring in other ideas, that you're not on the fashion hamster wheel, that you're...
Well, I hope when people visit the exhibition is that they get a wider perspective of what art in relation to the body can be as a language, and that it connects to all the layers of life, to philosophy, to science, to art.
to the environment.
Yeah, to see the interconnectedness of everything, to nature. So I really hope I can expand people's perception on that, and to feel this bond, this really essential bond that we have with nature, that we are nature, and that we find this new connection again.
Yeah. And, we talked about this somewhat, but your work really does sit at a crossroads between fashion, art, design, and science. Are there any particular pieces where these all really do converge? Like, we got all of them going on, or is it in every single piece, do you think?
I think it's in every single piece.
I think it's in every single piece, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you use all sorts of techniques, like you're hand sewing still.
Yeah.
But you use laser cutting.
Yeah.
When you do like your little waves, and then your materials, do you use leather?
No. In the early years, I used some eco leather. One piece is in the exhibition, actually, but I stopped working with that material.
So what is, when you have the ones like that are sort of like that Jennifer and Kate wear, that are kind of swirling, but they have lines, what is that material that you've cut with the lasers that follows almost like water down them and gives the strength and gives it a kind of stiffness to the fabric while it flutters?
I'm trying to think.
And it looks like a zigzags, but they're like zigzags that are all together, like zoom, 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 zoom.
Do you remember which room it was?
Well, there's a lot of them, but it's kind of almost like a rubbery material, or it's
We sometimes work with dragon skin.
with what skin?
It's called dragon skin.
Dragon
which obviously
skin.
is not dragon skin, but it's the name of the material, and it's used in the film industry to create a second skin.
That's it.
Yeah. So
What you were wearing last night? What was that material?
That was actually 3D printing.
It was 3D printed.
On a mesh fabric. Yeah.
Wow. And where do you do the 3D printing? In your studio now?
No.
It's still too big a thing, right?
Well, the printers are changing all the time, so we work together with different companies that are evolving their printers, sometimes with universities because they are more experimental. So it's really a mix, and we work with people all over the world to...
And so the dress last night, was that printed somewhere in Europe?
That was Italy.
In Italy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the early days, those printers were like these enormous things.
Yeah,
And there were only
not
about 2 or
anymore.
3 of them in the world, and
Yeah.
it would take forever to print everything. And
I started printing in Belgium in the early years. They were really at the forefront. But now you have so many different types of printers, also with sustainable materials, more flexible materials. So we just work with different ones at the same time.
very cool. And I remember
Yeah.
stories of like when people first started working with them, and they would kind of like sometimes it didn't quite work, and it turned into this melty, goopy,
That sounds familiar. Yeah,
melty, goopy mess,
Yeah.
like a melted candle. And you go, okay, we got to start again.
exactly. Yeah, lots of trial and error is part of the process. But you have to like the failures because they always teach you something.
And do you go to the
Yeah.
place where they do the 3D printing and watch it happen?
I have
and-
done many times, yeah, absolutely. I love watching it, especially when it comes out. It always feels quite futuristic, quite magical. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What would some of the ideas or feelings that you want visitors to carry with them after experiencing this exhibition?
Ultimately, a sense of bewilderment. I hope you go out of the exhibition with a lot of questions. Yeah. Yeah.
And will you be answering some of those questions?
Some, but not all. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's similar to my own process. Like, I often start the collection with a lot of questions, and usually it ends up at the end when I'm in Paris showing that I have even more questions for the next one. So I think the exhibition does the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's next? Can you tell us who you're collaborating with yet? Can you give us
No,
some
it's-
ideas of some areas you want to keep going into or exploring more?
It's really an early process, and that's the beauty of my process. I try not to control it, so whatever happens in the coming year, I will just be open for experiment. And at this moment, I have no idea what will come out next time, and that's my favorite moment.
Yeah.
So this is my free space where I can just talk to people, do some experiments, maybe go in a whole different direction again, and it's like dancing.
It's
really,
like dancing.
Yeah.
Now, one of
Yeah.
my favorite pieces at the end of the show, there's 2 that I love. One is this huge wall of like different size magnifying glasses. Can you explain who made that for us and what the point of that piece is? Like,
Yeah.
I have an idea, but I'd love to hear your point of view.
Yeah, this is in the Cosmic Bloom space.
It's a what?
Cosmic Bloom.
Cosmic Bloom.
Yeah, it's the final space of the exhibition. Definitely one of my favorites. It really brings you, I don't know, into a feeling of losing gravity or even control, and it's this very cosmic feeling of being overwhelmed by the textures and the colors and the directions. And when you enter the space, you see a installation by Collective May.
What's it by?
Collective May, they are called, and they are also the artists behind the wave sculpture in the second room.
I love the wave sculpture.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's created from hundreds of different magnifying glasses in different directions. And each bubble shows the space behind it as a, I would say, universe on its own. So your whole perception is being distorted, and I really love standing in front of that work, looking at my own work behind it in a very disrupted way. And it's like a microcosmos of all the different ideas. And that room for me also carries the most beautiful part of the soundscapes from Salvador.
Let's talk about the soundscape for a second. Yes.
Yeah.
Who created the soundscape?
Salvador Breed. He made special soundscapes for each space, and it's a really important part of the exhibition. It really brings you into a different focus, into a different energy. And we have been working for such a long time together. Our studios are in the same building. So he sees the process that I'm having from beginning till end, and he is really able to translate my textures, my materials into sound, which is a beautiful translation. And over the years, he has been working with a lot of other musicians. And for Cosmic Bloom, it's a combination of all of these different collaborations coming together. So it's not only a cosmic bloom, but also like a collaborative bloom,
right.
I would say. It really brings together all these different minds. Yeah.
And what I love about that big microscope lens, macroscope lens wall is that you see the works through it in different ways, and some of them are distorted, and it's almost like a funhouse mirror point of view of your clothes.
I feel like it's a wall of focus. It really
it's a wall of focus.
Yeah, it invites you to look more carefully and to really zoom in. And I don't know, I just feel hypnotized.
Zoom in, but also zoom out.
Yeah, at the same time.
You just see sort of a blur of color, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't even see a silhouette.
Exactly.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and next to it, you have the beautiful paintings of photography from Kim Kiefer.
From who?
Kim Kiefer.
Kim Kiefer.
And that's also an explosion of color where he puts paints underwater and then photographs it. And I think the sculpture from Collective May is really a live version from those paintings.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing that I love at the end is that film that you have projected on the wall of the skydiving artist in one of your creations, right?
Exactly.
Now, you're a big skydiver, right? Are you still skydiving?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. How many times have you gone?
Quite a few times. The first time I was 17 in Australia, and the nice thing was that recently, because we had the exhibition there, I was able to do it quite near the very first time that I did it.
Nice.
So for me, it's really, I don't know, a reset of body and mind. I don't do it for the thrill. I really do. I see it as something more spiritual, like finding, I don't know, losing all of your current thoughts, the current state that you're in, and just start again. Yeah, it feels like a new start always, and it's about letting things go. And that's why the Earthwise video in the very end of the exhibition is a very personal one. It's a collaboration with Domitille Kiger, world champion skydiver, so she does this on a daily basis.
That's crazy.
That's amazing. The freedom that she finds in that is really inspirational for me. And she's like a bird, she's a dancer up there, but a dancer in 3 dimensions. The amount of control that she has is really mind-blowing. So for me,
Have you done a skydive with her?
Well, I was there for all the dives that she did in the look, and it was a one of the most amazing collaborations as well.
And
for
how was
me.
it filmed? Like, were skydivers flying with her, filming
Yeah.
her, or was it from like a helicopter following her? No.
No, there were multiple people jumping at the same time. So
And where was it?
all in France.
In France.
Yeah. So the video that you see, it's all real, and at some point she is swallowed by the sun. It's quite magical.
It's a really magical
yeah.
piece. And when did you do this? How old is that piece?
This is 2 years ago,
2 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago, and
And did you make the garment just for that jump? Because
Yeah.
it had to have some technical, so
Oh,
like didn't fly away, right?
Yeah, no, at the beginning, I mean, all the handwork is very delicate, right? So I had no idea whether it would withstand the forces that you go through when you, I think it's like 300 or 400 kilometers an hour that you fall. So we did a lot of testing in indoor skydive facilities. So I would make some samples with the atelier, go into the indoor skydive facility, and then everything was gone, like within a second. So we had to start again and again, and it was actually like a learning curve for the atelier on improving the techniques, and it was quite amazing to do it.
A little different than making something for the Cannes red carpet.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it was really one of the most special projects I've done.
I love that film.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to now have some Q&As. We're going to take some questions from the audience. Let's thank Iris for this chat. And then we'll have the staff here will bring you microphones. It's going to be hard for me to say. I can do it like this. Does anyone have questions for Iris?
Iris, like you, I'm working within photography with the interconnectedness of all things in the world. And
Can you hear it?
A little bit, but
A little bit more, a little bit louder. Working with photography, and then
I'm working with the interconnectedness of all things in the world. And the question for you is, in the process, like you said, it's a flowing process. But when is the point that you say, I stop here and I use this for where I'm working on or the series you are making? Because I noticed that something else announces this because you're in that flow. But where do you decide to cut?
oh yeah, where do you decide? Where do you decide when to stop? When you're when are you done?
that's
And
a
then
very
you
good
say,
question.
okay, I kept this for what I'm working now and want to make the collection. And
Yeah.
another thing that's coming along in the process, I use that for later thing. For myself, it's always difficult to say I stop here because the mind and the inspiration coming in is so diverse and so vast. So
Yeah, no, I also have...
It's funny, I get that question a lot for writing. How do you know when a story is done or a book is
Yeah.
done? I'm like, I don't know, I'm just
Well-
writing the sentence for my first book, Deluxe, and I was like, I think that's the last sentence of the book, period. We're done, right?
Was
Like,
that simple?
how do you know
Yeah.
when you're done a piece? When do you say, okay,
Well,
we have to stop
usually-
fussing with it, leave it alone?
I usually continue until I have to present it. And it's that simple. And
Now, that's a very McQueen move, isn't it? Oh, yeah, he was
I just
famous
like
for remaking
continuing
things
on
backstage.
things. That's also the reason that the exhibition keeps on evolving. I could sort of stop working on it and then the show travels, but I just like to continue on it, to evolve it, and because I'm changing, I think the exhibition should change.
And it's true.
Yeah.
I've been backstage before the show, and I've seen her going like, yeah, no.
Exactly, yeah. And I think the whole team works like that. You continue until you don't, and you can't. And but if we would have another month, things would look different again. Yeah, yeah.
Another month and be different together.
Yeah.
Now, so it's basically the Chambre syndicale de l'haute couture that's setting you your deadlines and
Yes.
saying,
Yes.
Friday at 2 o'clock, you
Yeah.
have to be done your collection at least at this point.
Exactly. But I like the idea that if you would have another week or so, things would look different again. And it's It's like a garden. It's always different, and
It's like a garden.
yeah.
Okay, is there
Yeah.
another question back there? Oh, here, oh wait, there's one way in the back. Make sure you tell us who you are, where you're from.
So my name is Dorine and I'm from The Hague. I was wondering if you also designed for men or use men models for what you already designed or for the exhibition or...
Yeah, no, I mostly design for women. That's my natural thing to do because it's personal and it's intuitive, and yeah, it feels most comfortable for me to work for the female body. But I also have some male clients, so if they are not too gender focused in the sense that they want a traditional looking suit or something, then I also can work for men. Yeah, yeah. But
Are there any
needs to be
pieces for
some-
men that we shouldn't, that like you say, oh yeah, I did that for so-and-so and they wore it there, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, one client that is quite well known is Jordan Ross.
Jordan
Jordan Ross,
Ross.
and we've been making several pieces for him. Yeah.
Cool. And what about for film? Have you done any for film?
Yes. Yeah. And
What have you done for film?
several projects. And what is nice is that we have recently been working on a new film called Mother Mary.
Modern Mary?
Mother Mary.
Mother Mary.
It's not out yet, but the dress is in the exhibition.
Oh, cool. And
yeah.
who's in this film? Who made the movie?
Well, the actress that we made the look for is Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, yeah. So the dress is it's a premiere that it is in the exhibition. Yeah, but we've been working on other films in the past. Yeah, but this is the most recent one. Yeah.
Very cool. And then
Yeah.
you've made pieces for Bjork.
Yeah. Also.
And for her videos and for...
Also. Yeah. Yeah.
And we've seen those, yeah.
Yeah. Some of the videos are in the exhibition. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Another question, I saw one up here, somewhere in here. Here, down here, there's one.
Hi Iris, I'm
Hi.
Jo Eegteman. I have two questions. Where did you get your education? And do you ever sleep?
Do I have what?
Do you ever sleep?
Do you? Oh, I do. Yeah. No, I did ARTES. It's the Art Academy in Arnhem. And at the beginning, I wasn't sure whether I would want to go in one direction. So I did 1 year of multiple directions: photography, painting, sculpting, fashion. And then I had to make a decision. And I went into the fashion direction, but I felt already that I could combine the different disciplines a bit. And yeah, after graduation, I started my label right away. And I'm a workaholic, for sure. Yeah.
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 And do you still dance?
No.
No. You don't have a bar at home and you're doing your...
No.
Oh.
No. I should.
You should.
I know. Yeah.
So is there
Yeah.
another over here? This one right on the aisle, on the side there. Yeah.
Yes. First of all, thank you both for the interview. My name is Annette van Raamsdonk, and as you can hear, I'm also from the Netherlands. I have a question in regards to the four-dimensional work you are experimenting with, because it sounds, well, to me, it sounds like it could also be sort of difficult, because now you mentioned that you keep on working on dresses until the very last moment. But if you have that four-dimensional work, it keeps changing with emotions or, well, the person who wears it. So what's your vision on that?
I think it will
Letting
make
go
it
of things.
easier, because then the work will still evolve after I'm done with it. So I don't have to keep on evolving it. Maybe it's a shortcut. Yeah. I don't think it will be, but yeah. Yeah.
So tell us what you're wearing today.
This is an existing look that I've been rebuilding. which I like to do. It's actually the way I started working in fashion before I did my art academy. I would buy clothes and I would rebuild them. That was before I was able to do pattern making, for example. It's a nice way to give clothes a new life. So that's the look that I'm wearing, and then I'm also wearing a kimono, a traditional Japanese kimono. I take a lot of inspiration from Japan in my work. There's quite a few Japanese artists in the exhibition as well. And I don't know, I always feel at home in a kimono.
Do you go to Japan often?
I haven't been there for a while, but I've been there a few times, and it's one of the most special places.
It's pretty special.
Yeah.
And tell us about the shoes. My husband said, who makes her shoes? I'm like, well, I think she does. Who makes your shoes?
I've been working with different people and companies. One of the most special shoes, I think, in the exhibition are actually done with a Japanese artist together, Noritaka Tatahana. And but there are many different...
And which ones are they? Are they the ones that are up on the
stilts?
stilts?
They have like a crystallized base, so it's as if you walk on huge crystals. But there are many different collaborations, and one of my favorite spaces in the exhibition is the Cabinet of Curiosity.
Yes.
And that's where you see a lot of the accessories, inspirations, books, natural specimens, half-scale drapings, all of it. Yeah.
Now tell me about my scarf. How is this printed? Do we know? Is this?
Yeah, this is a sustainable silk that is also...
Is this Spiber?
No.
No, it's not Spiber.
No.
But we love
No.
Spiber.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spiber is a protein that's grown in a lab and it replicates silk. And you had Spiber in your show in July, which I thought was very cool.
Yeah.
And they're based in Japan.
Exactly, yeah. So, no, we're looking at doing another collaboration.
So this would be considered peace silk?
Yeah.
What do they call it? Where they don't kill the worms.
Exactly. Exactly. And the pattern comes from one of my collections. It has beautiful colors in there. So
It feels very Plato's Atlantis to me too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I can see where you. When did you work with McQueen? What years or what collections? Did you work on The Girl in the Tree?
I graduated in 2006. This was 2005. Yeah. I've been working on different collections there. Yeah.
Yeah. But you didn't work on Plato's Atlantis.
No.
But they're definitely cousins, those two shows, because that was, of course, inspired by water as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And playing with computer printing and...
Absolutely. Yeah.
So cool. And the shoes, of course, the cloth shoes.
Yeah.
I love the shoes in your show that were in a show that were like they're a platform and then there's a stilt almost and then the shoe. So you're almost like walking in the air.
You're elevated. Yeah.
Very
Exactly.
lightly. Like it's almost like you can't quite see that they're...
No, you don't see the construction.
You don't see the construction.
It's like air. Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Is there another question? Yes, over here again on the aisle, and then next to the person in the aisle.
Hello, I'm Jasmine Vogel, and I am studying currently fashion design at Artes, also my first year. And I was wondering if you have any tips and how it was for you studying, but also graduating and then starting your own business, and how did you do it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Are you studying fashion on the Art Academy? Okay, nice. What I learned on the Academy is that you have to be quite stubborn. I learned a lot, but I also had my own ways of working. And I think on the Academy, at least at my Academy, you really have a order of how you should go through a creative process. But for me, it was very different. Like on the Academy, I learned you have to find your inspiration, then define your concept, then start drawing, then start finding your materials, and then you start making. But I work the other way around. I start making and I start experimenting with my materials, and then inspiration and concept just flows or passes by me. And I think for anyone who works creatively, you have to find your own creative process. And I feel that's a very important one, because otherwise you can very easily get stuck. If I have to work in a traditional way that I had to do on the academy, I would not feel creative. I really have to have my own order of doing things. And I recommend that to people, that definitely learn the way you are being told, but also try to find your own way to do it if it doesn't work for you. And after the academy, I started my own label straight away. I was 22, and I didn't really have a plan either, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it that way. Usually people start doing an internship or a work placement.
And you did a few internships.
Yeah, but that was before graduation.
But
usually
internships
people,
are important.
Yeah, work for a few years at another place. You learn a lot more extra skills than you get on the academy,
and different points of view.
Yeah,
of the industry and of
yeah,
creation.
and also knowing what is important for you, because there are so many ways to work and there are so many decisions to make. And
I always say do as many internships as you can when you're starting out, because it teaches you what you want to do, but more importantly, it shows you what you don't want to do.
Also, yeah.
Like, I don't want to be like that.
Absolutely.
And you're out there.
Yeah. So definitely it's a great place to learn to do internships after. Yeah.
And plus you meet people.
Yeah.
You meet a lot of people who then keep
you
weaving
build
in and out of your
ecosystem.
network, but
Yeah.
you'll keep crossing them. I was an intern at Time magazine in the mid-1980s, and one of the correspondents I worked with there is now the co-founder of Airmail with Graydon Carter, Alessandra Stanley. You know, like they just keep coming in and out of your lives.
Yeah.
And I've written for Airmail. So it's funny how it kind of comes back around, or you can go to them for counsel when you need some advice.
Yeah.
So internships are great.
Yeah.
Is there another question? Yes, down here in the front. Wait for the microphone. The microphone's coming.
I'm Tina Gasper. I was a teacher, German, so nothing to do with all these design stuff. I wonder, how did or do young people come to you? Because I think you can't do your work all alone. You have a lot of people working with you.
Absolutely.
And you have all sorts of ways to produce your style. And I think you might have a lot of different people come in and out.
Absolutely, yeah. There is always an amazing group of interns also working on the collections, aside with the people that are permanently part of the atelier. And it's a great way to learn together, to explain them the techniques and the materials that we're working on, and then also building up a new collection together, doing a lot of experiments, and yeah, it's a really amazing way to build on a collection together. Yeah.
How many people work in the studio?
It's always different, and it gets a bigger group before the collection.
But roughly, like, are you a dozen, 20, 40, 60?
Yeah, with the whole group together, it's between 20 and 30. Yeah.
And you're still in that same space I came to visit?
Yes.
Have you expanded a bit? Do you have a bit more?
Yeah, we have one more space at the same level. Yeah.
And what I love is, since she's across the street from the water, sometimes they go swimming in the summer at lunch break.
Yes, that also happens. Yeah.
Good for morale.
Yeah.
And bringing the idea of water
directly into the studio. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How about if we take one more question? Okay, the person who's standing up. There we are. Perfect. And we'll take two, because I saw one way in the back, and we can't forget the way back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Iris.
Hi.
My name is Yvonne Jane van Leeuwen, and I'm a mixed media artist, and I'm also a creative coach. First, I would like to say thank you for your amazing art, and I think I speak for a lot of us if I say to you that we're also very proud that you are Dutch. So,
Thank you.
in my capacity as a creative coach, I guide young artists, people who are starting, and you started once, and I was wondering if I could ask you, did you ever, if you have creative blocks or have challenges on the way, you must have had them. What did you do? Do you have tips?
Yeah.
That's a great question, yeah. When you get
Absolutely.
stuck, what do you do? Do you get stuck?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. I think it's part of the creative process. I know this sounds a bit cliche, but for me, the best thing is to go into nature. And that often
I go
gives-
for a walk, yeah.
Yeah.
When you get stuck, go for a walk.
And if you're really stuck, go for a longer trip somewhere. I don't know. It's, for me, the best way to expand my ideas and to find a new energy again. But also meditation. I do TM, transcendental meditation. I find that a really nice tool on a daily basis to find that inner space that you can easily lose. And I think it's also really important to realize that it's always part of a system of growth. Like, usually when I feel stuck, I am too driven by the end result, that I have to achieve something or I have to finish something. But if you change your mindset into a more exploratory mindset of experiment, playfulness, just realizing that you're growing into something and don't think about too much on the end result. I mean, that helps me to focus on the process. The more I focus on the process, on like little steps in front of me, like not, I don't know, the big exhibition opening in 6 months, but just like, what do you want to do in this week? That really helps me to make little steps forward. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then there was one way, way, way in the back. There she is, 2 hands up in the air. I see, there we go. Can't quite.
My name is Maya Kari Mulder. I want to do fashion education later. I'm currently working on fully trying to know everything about how to sew with a machine and by hand and crocheting, all different kinds of methods. But when I actually do go to art school and I do go do internships, I'd like to know, what do people look for? So I wanted to ask, what do you look for when you take interns?
Oh, that's a good question. This is actually a question for Dominica, who works at my studio, who talks directly at the first moment with the interns to see if they are a good fit. So I must be very honest, I don't do that myself, but I do know that we're always looking at a variety of people. So definitely people with a fashion background, but also people coming from other disciplines. So we always try to have a nice mix of backgrounds. Yeah.
And I imagine being proactive.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't just follow directions, come up with some ideas yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you are interning at the studio, you are really part of the whole process, from beginning till end, and yeah, that's quite special. So that's why we can also work with people from different backgrounds, because there's so many different things to explore. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, let's give a hand to Iris for coming out today for us.